So let me begin with our first use case scenario, and the aim from this scenario is to introduce main features of the Git of Truth. Let me start with introducing the user's levels of access. We have first the owner, who is the creator of the repo and has the highest level of access. We also have the collaborator, who can pull, push, or share his or her access with other users. We also have read or write, and those users can only push or pull. And we also have revoked users, and those are the users who had previously access but no longer have any kind of access. And finally, the default is no access. Introducing our participants, we have two main participants, Alice, who is an owner, and Bob, who is a collaborator. And our environment will be two computers, a personal computer and CSIS Labs computers. So the first step in our use case scenario is to initialize GoT repos using the GoT init command, and then we will create new GoT users in order to generate key pairs and add the public keys of the users to the ledger through the following command, GoT client user create. And we will also add the user information to Git configuration using GoT config command. So as I said, the first step would be to initialize the GoT repo and then create the user Alice. Okay. So as you can see here, the user has been created successfully, and we updated the configuration of Git. So after creating the user Alice adds a new file to the repo and commits the changes locally through git add and git commit, and then adds the repo to GoT through GoT client add repo. And finally, she wants to authorize Bob as a read or write user through GoT client authorize command. So as I said, the second step would be Alice doing some changes locally and committing them, and then adding the repo to GoT through GoT client add repo command. After that, she authorizes Bob to have read or write access, and we can see it has been successful, and she queries user access in order to make sure that the access has been added. On the other hand, Bob clones Alice's repo, and after that he adds some changes of his own through git add and git commit, and then pushes them to the ledger through GoT client push command. And finally, he tries to authorize Tom as a read or write user. However, this should fail since Bob is a read or write user and he doesn't have such privileges. So moving on to user Bob, the first thing user Bob does is doing the command GoT client clone in order to clone the repo added by Alice. And then after that, we can see that it has been successful since the file that Alice has added is there, test_alice.txt. And then he does some changes of his own through git add and git commit, and then pushes them to the ledger through GoT client push. And as you can see, this was successful. After that, he tries to authorize a new user, Tom. And as you can see, this wasn't successful since he doesn't have the privileges to do such task. And finally, our last part for the use case scenario will be Alice trying to pull Bob's changes. And after that, she decides to revoke access from Bob. And now we're back to Alice, the owner of the repo, who does a GoT client pull command in order to get the changes that Bob has added to the ledger. And as we can see, the changes of Bob are there since we have test.bob.txt file. And then she revokes access from Bob. And as you can see, it has been successful since from this command, the query uses access, we can see that the access has been revoked. So now let's head back to user Bob, who does a GoT client pull command in order to get the changes of Alice. But since Alice revoked his access, we can see that the command wasn't successful since he doesn't have privileges.